All right, what is up, fam? How we all doing? Let's get this live popping and rolling, guys. Just Josh and ya. Yep, feeling a lot better. Appreciate ya. Good morning, Emoto. Good morning, Thomas. Good morning. I got the flu now, but still gonna get back on broccoli. Man, take care of that, right? The flu is going around pretty hard right now. Michael Chapman in the house. What is up? Dusty, how we doing? So, we are into the New York session, guys, the first hour here, and I want to mention something. So the first thing is I want to go look at the 18-hour. The last couple of days have been kind of a shock to me-ish because I haven't really seen Bitcoin do a fake out like this since 2022, and a lot of you guys have been posting 2022. And I went back to 2022 and I looked at it. Kevin, how you doing? White, how you doing? Right? Back in 2022 when it was April, I think. It was somewhere. We broke out. Yeah, right here. It was right here. So revisiting the same drop ish in that area. My cough is still here, but not as bad as it was. We can see that Bitcoin broke out, back tested the breakout, went a bit higher, and then dumped all the way down and had a major drop. So Bitcoin hit our 89.5 like we were mentioning last night. Joey Sawyer, how you doing? Who's shorting the market right now, guys? We're all shorting, I'm pretty sure. All right, fam, let's run up that light. It's morning time. Give me a break. Let's run up that live button, like button. I was up pretty late looking at the charts. I couldn't sleep. I'm like, honestly, if this bounces up, I'm going to be ticked. But then I was looking at the charts and I'm like, you know what? There's no way this is bouncing. We are doing one of the biggest fake outs, kind of like 2022. And shout out to a lot of the people that pointed that out. So now what you got to read, well, you're still above the breakout for now, okay? The breakout is right here. All right, so here's the breakout, guys. We're still above somehow, just above, right? But here's the breakout. Now the question is, are you going to reverse? And are we going to have that beautiful bull market like everyone is talking about? The answer is probably going to be no. Yo, Spazio, what is up? Craig Beats in the house. How we doing? Filecoin is holding up better than BTC ETH. Yep. It is. It is. A lot of altcoins are actually. So this is now going to be my channel on the market. Now, remember I was showing you guys, if this channel broke, that is when we would be in trouble. Well, 87 would be the channel. And if this channel breaks and Bitcoin goes back inside of the channel, guys, that is what we need to look at, because here's the bottom of our Bollinger Bands. Now, I want to show you guys something right here in the 18-hour time frame. I feel like I never could just talk about altcoins in New York. I have to be red alert, because New York is not. So we're at 89K right now, and we haven't even dropped. And this is kind of caution to the wind. But this RSI on the 18-hour time frame has this much more room to hit the bottom, right? That is a big ways down. Whereas up here, at least we were at 90K, or sorry, whatever it was, the bottom. this has this much more room to hit the bottom on the 18-hour. So first, we got to take that into consideration. Who's shorting right now? Anybody long in the market? Anybody shorting? If you guys are making money on the Beast Limitless community, tap that like button, guys. Let's hear it in the comment section below. So I could probably think that New York is going to do exactly what it did yesterday, try to fake out, pick up above trend, try to get some volume. But overall, the 4 hours dropping. Now we are at 89K and the 4 hour never hit the bottom. That means we're going to be going down for another 1 hour and 13 minutes typically. And then another 4 hour candle after that. Now there is bullish dive in the market everywhere, but it doesn't matter what kind of bullish dive. You're still looking at that 87 as your target, roughly. Obviously, Bitcoin's pumping here in the shorter term, but for the most part, after this 1 hour candle, you're probably going to come down, right? So you might get some volume in the shorter term here. You might get a manipulation wick to 89, maybe even 90K. But we know that New York is all about manipulation. New York is all about manipulation, guys. We know how that goes. So I definitely would not try to long or anything like that. I wouldn't try to chase a short right now. But here's the downtrend on the lower time frame that you do need to follow. We will be checked into the London session tonight, guys, by the way. So if you guys are looking for the live today, we will be live at 1 a.m. CST. We were live during Tokyo yesterday. Absolutely nothing happened during Tokyo. And then the fun stuff happened in London. The other thing is the daily is dropping here. I think I got my liquidity gaps working here for y'all. So here's the liquidity gaps. I did have it working. Okay. Here's the liquidity gaps on Bitcoin, guys. So we do got a bounce off trend here, which is probably going to be a fake out. 89, 90K is possible. We did bounce off 87.2, which is pretty much the bottom of that trend line if you're looking right here. That is the bottom of our kind of macro, well, our micro trend line. So that is the bottom right here. We are hitting that bottom. But for another 1 hour and 11 minutes, we are going down in the 4 hour time frame. So I am definitely expecting Bitcoin to break it down to about 86.6. Argale, how we doing? Short-term bump should be coming up. I still think we're going to go to the 60K range for sure. Yeah. So again, in the shorter term, you've got New York picking up some volume here. In the longer term, though, I mean, longer term by today, you've got a drop happening. So we'll see how that plays out. New York is all about manipulation, manipulation. That is New York's session for you guys. So with this 1 hour candle, once the 1 hour candle's done, we're going to know more direction. For me, it is pretty obvious that we're going down. Like even the 8 hour time frame here is just completely dropping. There's literally no indication of the market reversing, but this would definitely be your trend right here. So if we go back to our liquidity gaps, we're bouncing off that area. So you are breaking your equilibrium, which is obviously key because you could bounce around to your equilibrium around 90,003 to 89.9. And then you're looking at that 86. 86 would definitely be my target here on Bitcoin. Okay. So again, if you guys are just joining top of the hour here with the New York session, and obviously New York is getting some volume, but the reason that New York is getting volume is because we're bouncing off that trend. We broke the equilibrium. And now we're looking at ranging here a bit before a continuation back down. There's a possibility we hit 90,003. But we do have 10 minutes left on this 1 hour candle. So 10 minutes left on this 1 hour candle, then we'll get some more real direction in the market. DXY on third straight daily rise. Yes, so if you're looking at your DXY, your US dollar currency index here, you can see the DXY is in a head and shoulder, but it did break out, right? So the DXY absolutely broke out of the falling wedge, of the downtrend right here. And you have a huge rounded bottom right here. We don't usually look at the DXY. We look at the USDT Tether DOM. So this is another good chart to look at. There's so many charts we need to look at in crypto, guys. But essentially, you have that big breakout right there. Fake out off of a head and shoulder. And now you're starting to move up on the double bottom here. So what you want to do is draw a trend line right here. And DXY could pump all the way to about 100K in that area, roughly 100. So Bitcoin's getting a really big manipulation candle right now. We still are below the 800 SMA, which is key. But yeah, Bitcoin's obviously getting a huge candle here in the shorter term. We dropped all the way down to 89,200. But overall, we definitely are dropping on that 4 hour time frame and that 18-hour time frame. So you're going to have some volume in the first hour with New York. We had the same thing yesterday. We even had bullish divergence yesterday, and it didn't really matter. The market just dumped, right? So we got about 5 minutes left in this on this close here into the first hour of New York. ZBCN. Yeah, so if we look at ZBCN, if we look at ZBCN, we had a pump. We had an inverse head and shoulder here on ZBCN. And now you could kind of see we're rejecting, which is why if DXY goes up, BTC will go down. Absolutely. Same with Tether DOM, right? So yeah, ZBCN is not looking good now. It was looking pretty good, but it did hit the top. So essentially just draw your trend line right here. And that's kind of what you're following. In the shorter term, I can see ZBCN coming back down to here and even dropping a lot lower because at the moment, with Bitcoin rejecting, a lot of altcoins are not looking too hot. So you do need to be above this trend line right here, and you do need to break out. And ultimately, you need to be above the 200 SMA. Let's take a look at total 3, guys. 1 hour is about to close in the market. Again, I'm shorting. Been shorting since last night. Stopped longing because there's no point. The main trend broke. Obviously, we have a little trend here we're bouncing off of, but there's no way I'd be longing that because the overall 4 hours dropping and has so much more room to go down to the bottom of the RSI. However, what you can see here is you can see that total 3 has more room to drop down to the bottom. So if you look at our 4 hour time frame, guys, we are dropping on total 3. And you can pretty much see that right there, right? Dropping on total 3. Total 3 has this much more room to touch the bottom. Total 3 did break out on the macro time frame. It broke out of this massive falling wedge. But if we can't hold this region on total 3, which are your altcoins ultimately, then you are going to drop a lot. And if you're looking at the 3-day right now, the 3 days overbought, and we have had a double top in total 3. It looked like we were going to recover in the shorter term. Looked like we were going to recover here in the shorter term. But now if we redraw the channel, this is pretty much going to be your resistance right here, which means that total 3 can come all the way back down to $700 billion roughly, and you do got the 800 SMA. So we still got a trend on total 3 in the shorter term. But if this trend breaks on total 3, we're going to have a massive drop in altcoins. Until this trend breaks, I'm not looking too cautious for altcoins. At the moment, I'm just looking for a short-term bounce off of 845. If we break 845, yeah, we're absolutely going to come down, right? That one guy, how you doing? Appreciate you. Thank you. It's a crazy market, guys, right? Everything breaking out on the macro definitely sends shivers down people's spine. Like, where are you safe in crypto, right? Like, look at that liquidation candle right here, though. Okay, so we got 1 minute left on the close. 1 minute left on the close into New York. And if we look at our liquidity gaps right here on Bitcoin, so we're bouncing off this area right here in the shorter term, which is at 89.6, which makes sense. We're hitting the previous yeah, there we go. So we're hitting that resistance right there. The 1 hour is closed, guys. So this should be our attacking point for an equilibrium right here. But if you're looking at the 4 hour, the 4 hour is just absolutely dumping. Coming straight down. So it's even possible we drop all the way down to, let's see here. It's even possible we come, so we break this area, we're coming down to 84 and definitely a lot lower, right? So I'm going to look at a couple altcoins, guys, like Solana. So Solana's in this rising wedge. We have a rising wedge here on Sol. We broke it. Now you're looking at Solana coming down here a lot. We even broke the trend here on Sol. We got a little uptrend here, little small uptrend about 126. But you can see Solana is pretty much coming down here. So now we got to redraw the channel on Sol and take this resistance point. The problem is there's no, that would be a resistance at this point. And yeah, you're pretty much looking at Sol dropping all the way down to you're pretty much looking at Sol dropping down to around 114-ish in that area. MH17, how we doing? 1,000 rats. Okay, I'll take a look at it. Hit that like button, guys. If you guys are joining the live, I appreciate you guys. Okay, 1,000 rats is definitely pumping here. Definitely pumping for sure. So got a little bit of a trend here. We got an uptrend here on 1,000 rats. Meme coin, right? You're pretty much going to bounce off this low right here, create a new low, and look for a higher high. That is where I'd be looking for in this one. If it does reach the top of that, I wouldn't be long in this market at the moment. I would not be long. That is a fact. So I would say we're going to move up to about 0.7-ish. We have some resistance in this area. I don't know. It's really tough for me to say long this, but it could push up more. Did it break the uptrend in the higher time frame though? If it breaks this uptrend right here, it will drop. It did break the uptrend. So you're probably going to drop right here. CJDV, how we doing? Chaotic guys, chaotic market guys, like from the most fear to a neutral bullish market. And then in 1 week, all of that wiped out pretty much in 1 week. So this should be the top on rats, roughly. It definitely should be the top. So New York session is open, guys. Bitcoin is still dropping here. We had a little opening candle. James G6 G5B, welcome. Good morning. Appreciate it. Thank you for your comment on the live. Now that 5 minutes overbought. That 1 minute pretty much broke trend. It could come up a bit in range in this region because we do have a 1 minute fair value gap. But for the most part, you're going to see Bitcoin come down. We have this 4-hour candle dropping here, 54 minutes. So probably what you're going to see Bitcoin is doing is ranging for a bit. That is a pretty big candle for sure, manipulation candle. We are bouncing off the 800 SMA, which is great in the shorter term, but your 4 hour is just completely dropping. So there may be some manipulation into New York here. Never a dull day for Bitcoin, guys. Never a dull day. The market is insane. Just insane. That volume. We could even get a pump to 90,006 if we wanted to. MH17, thank you for your support. Thank you guys for all being on the live. Now keep in mind, guys, before the 18-hour close, the direction is down, okay? So we're bouncing off this fair value gap, which makes a lot of sense here. But the initial direction is down before the 18-hour. The daily, the initial direction is down. So throughout the day after New York settles and they make their rounds of manipulating and wicking everybody out, that should be the direction of the market. However, you are bouncing off the breakout point. So keep that in mind too. Remember, the Bitcoin breakout point was right here. Well, this would be the breakout point actually. At about 87.6. Yeah, you're tapping the VWAP for sure. I wouldn't be looking for a major correction until 87.3. 87.3 would be my major area. So never a dull day into New York. I will say that. So you got 51 minutes left in this 1 hour close, guys, on Bitcoin. I do want to see where Ethereum is and XRP before we go off the live this morning. So Ethereum is pretty much in the same spot at the bottom of the channel. Everything is at the bottom of the channel. So there's going to be buyer momentum coming in for sure. But yeah, everything is definitely at the bottom of the channel. Ethereum has more room to drop, which would be right here. I would be cautious at the bottom of the channel, which is about 2,900. The only thing about ETH is you never actually hit the top. So the top on ETH was right here. Well, the top has never been hit on ETH. And this hypothetically should be the bottom in the shorter term, which would be about 3,000. So let's see if Bitcoin's going to come up, fake everybody out, manipulate everybody, wick everybody out, and then come back down. We are bouncing off the 200 SMA, which is not a bad thing. But again, until we hit that bottom here, I would be looking for more of a drop. Yesterday was really dull for sure. There wasn't really much movement in the market yesterday at all, if anything. Personally, for me, guys, I wouldn't be saying we're bottomed until this 4 hours starts touching the bottom of the RSI. Like, you do have a trend line bounce right here on Bitcoin on the 4 hour, which could mean we could definitely come up in the shorter term. But the initial 18 hours is definitely coming down. And you're bouncing off that fair value gap in the shorter term. Man, that cough goes the way it comes, and it goes over and over again. Let's see. So we have resistance at the top of the channel here around 90,008. Let's see what happens. Well, the first hour of the market close is pretty much done, guys. So obviously Bitcoin's getting some uptrend momentum off that 89.2 that it hit. But initially I see Bitcoin just ranging. Could possibly hit the top here around 90,008. That's very, very possible. Initially, though, after this 4 hour close, you are looking at Bitcoin coming down. So make sure you guys got stop losses and profit if you are trading at the moment. I did want to look at XRP. So XRP is coming up here too, but XRP is coming up too, but you do have key resistance in this region, pretty much around 212, and then you're looking at a drop all the way to 194. Otherwise, you're looking at a pretty big drop on XRP down to about 177. Leave it up to New York to add volume in the market or manipulate the market. All right, guys, so we're going to be live for the London session tonight. Keep an eye on what New York does, but we're ultimately looking for that 87 target. Short little live here coming on, looking at the New York session. Not too much is happening in New York. Really, you're going to get some manipulation. I don't understand how my throat is still messing up my cough. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You could pump to that 90,000 to 89, or I mean 90,008 target. You do got some resistance right here. I will see everybody on the London session tonight, guys, at 1 a.m. And then we'll look at what New York did for the day. Initially, though, you are definitely looking at going down. So Not too much is happening right now. We're just really getting a mini recovery into this 4-hour close, and we'll see if it continues or if it's going to be a fake out. All right, I hope everyone has a great day, guys. If Bitcoin breaks this area right here, we could potentially pump to 90,008 to 90,009. If Bitcoin breaks, if Bitcoin rejects here, we can come down to 88.9. You're leaving already? Well, there's not really too much to go over. Like, we are getting a big candle. But overall, let's see. We got some resistance right here. Huge volume coming in on Bitcoin, obviously, in the shorter time frame. Tim, you love the 1 a.m. session, London. Yeah, the London session is pretty fun. If you guys are not in the app, join beastlimitless.com. Let's see if you broke the trend on the 1 minute here on Bitcoin. You didn't break the trend on the 1 minute yet. It bounced off right here. But if you break this 1 minute, we definitely will come down for sure. Let's look at a couple coins. Argil, I'll stay live for a bit longer, but pretty much what I try to do is get the 4-hour close. So I'll stay live a bit longer. I'm just losing my voice for some weird reason. Makes no sense. I was fine yesterday. Let's see. So we've got altcoins. Any altcoins trending? We have Monero. We have WLFI. 17 cents on WLFI. We have Pippin going up again. So whenever the market is bearish, usually Pippin skyrockets out of nowhere. That's what I'm noticing. So if the market is bearish, watch Pippin. Volume is going to come in on Pippin. Yeah, Pippin dropped a lot all the way to 23 cents. Pippin's not looking too bad. So Pippin may pop all the way to, this would have been a good long here on Pippin at 29. But you're definitely looking at Pippin dropping. Olga, how we doing? I mean, pumping. I would have expected Pippin to drop to the bottom of the trend line. ZEC has FUD right now. CME filled. I was able to enter along at 89,800. One up trading. How you doing, Olga? Good morning. So yeah, Pippin is looking pretty good, guys, right here. We got some resistance right here, but if we can break this area on Pippin, then we are going to take off pretty good. And I think The 4 hour broke. So the 4 hour drop here broke on Pippin. So you would look for this to pump to about back to 53. Ultimately around 53 on Pippin. CME gap was filled, yeah. So the CME gap is definitely filled right here. You can see we even wicked below it right here. We wicked below our fair value gap as well. So now that the CME gap is filled, we'll see what happens. Initially, we are dropping. However, if you do look at the 4 hour time frame, guys, on Bitcoin, there's some volume coming in. We could potentially, in the shorter term, bounce off this 4 hour trend. Again, and that is the shorter term on Bitcoin. Let's see, 5 minutes overbought. I personally don't recommend longing at the moment just because the daily and the 18-hour looks pretty bad. But if you are looking for a scalp, longing would be really, really good off that low. But we are breaking this uptrend here now on Bitcoin in the 1 minute. So the uptrend is breaking. The 4 hour close is coming to a close. And before this 4 hour candle finishes, we should get some push to the downside. 15 minutes already overbought. 5 minutes very, very overbought. And the 1 minute is breaking trend. Well, breaking trend on your RSI, but not breaking trend on your actual chart. So once you break trend on your actual chart, then we will come down a lot here. We have some resistance right here. So Zcash developers all quit. Broccoli is paying you. Let's go, Thomas. Are you shorting broccoli or longing broccoli? So broccoli is kind of faking out here of the trend. Or let me go to the perpetual chart here in broccoli. So if we look at the perpetual chart on broccoli, we are in an uptrend. We are following a continuation of an uptrend here on broccoli. Now the question is, are we going to continue back up? Or are we going to come back down? You did break out, and it looks like broccoli can skyrocket all the way to 4.3 in that area. So there's the bounce off of trend right here, and initially right here. But if you break this area, guys, broccoli will drop a lot. That's crazy. All the Zcash developers quit. I thought Zcash was very, very bullish. Okay, so you're literally at resistance here in the shorter term. And you did break that 1 minute trend. So we'll see if Bitcoin fakes out here on this 4 hour close. You're getting some pretty big volume on the 4 hour close, guys, right? And that is because you're bouncing off of this trend right here. So the question is this going to be the bounce and where we continue our bullish run or not? I would say no, because the daily and 18 hours dropping. You just got to see how this 4 hour plays out. Now, if we dropped here, if we dropped down to here and we had pretty big volume, then I would say that, okay, that could possibly be a reversal around here, you do got to be cautious because this is the bottom of trend. But the fact that we bounced off this fair value gap, I'm definitely not buying that this is a reversal for sure. BTC, potential short-term drop alert. I trade the 5-minute chart, so take it for what it is. Yeah. 5 minutes overbought, but your 5-minute did break out. You can see that we broke out right here. But we also broke the 1 minute, right? So that little rising channel right here on the 1 minute time frame could potentially send Bitcoin down. Weekend pumps always dump. So Linda, how you doing? Thank you for joining the live. I do want to look at where AAVE is at because AAVE was looking pretty good. AAVE dropped all the way down to 161. If AAVE breaks this 1 minute trend, AAVE is going to be a dynamite short. We haven't broken the 1 minute yet. AAVE's bouncing off this 1 minute, guys. So if AAVE does break the 1 minute, we are going to drop a lot on AAVE. So keep an eye on AAVE. This is actually going to be one of my top trades in crypto. Because you got a low right here. You got a low right here. And AAVE's bouncing in the shorter term. And I believe if you look at AAVE, it did even... No, it didn't break out. So you got resistance right here, which means that AAVE could pump all the way to 166. But if you break this uptrend on AAVE, we're going to have a big drop. And I can see AAVE coming all the way back down to around 143-ish in that region. So it looks like Bitcoin's going to pump to the top of that resistance with all that volume coming in. We did break the RSI on the 1 minute. However, you're going to see Bitcoin just ranging here until it pretty much rolls over. This is major, major, major volume coming in off of that big sweep to the downside on this 4-hour close too. What else do we got here? Gold. I haven't looked at gold in a bit. So gold has been in an uptrend for a bit. Gold is bouncing off of this parallel channel. No, actually, no, we're not because, well, XAU broke here. So now you're looking at dropping again, potentially. Because we already hit the top here in gold. We do got a little bit of a trend line here. If gold breaks this trend line, guys, it could come down all the way to 4,200. However, it is in the middle range, and we're just hanging out at the conversion line. I wouldn't really be trading gold right now. I'd be trading gold up here or down here. But all we're doing is ranging. Okay, so now Bitcoin is starting to play out that 4 hours. So now I need to redraw my resistance again. And I can see that rising wedge played out here on the 1 minute. And now you're essentially looking for the rising wedge to play out on the 5 minute time frame. Well, it's the 5 minute, 1 minute time frame. So we've got half an hour left on this 4 hour close, guys. The 15 minute is now very, very overbought. The 1 hour is pretty much very overbought. You're tapping the 200 SMA. So I could see Bitcoin just ranging. I could honestly see Bitcoin pushing up to 90,008. It is a possibility, but this should be the top. Close to the top anyways. Unless you get that fake out there, then 90,008 is very, very, very possible. That is a huge 4 hour candle. Weekends pumps always dump, yeah, for sure. Let's look at ZEC. I haven't looked at ZEC yet. Yeah, huge drop on Zcash, all the way down to 381. Wow. So Zcash can drop. So Zcash broke the trend. It's kind of funny how all the developers quit when we hit the top of the channel, right? Zcash can dump all the way down to 247-ish in that region, around 247. That's a big drop coming on Zcash potentially. Obviously, you got a big candle here. But if we break this little uptrend on Zcash, we could dump quite a bit. And that's a huge bear flag all the way to 277. That's crazy. We broke the uptrend right here at about 477, and now we're absolutely dumping. You're looking at the bottom. Yeah, that 277 on ZEC, roughly. All right, guys, so we're going to end the live there. Not much is happening into the New York session right now. Tried to go live for a bit longer, but really all we're doing is we're getting a candle, this 1 hour 4 hour candle. And this should be the top in the shorter term. It could potentially pump to 90,008 to 91, but you did break the 1 hour and the 1 minute time frame. And because you broke the 1 minute time frame, you're going to get a bit of bobbing, weaving, back and forth action here. Maybe pushing up, but ultimately looking like this to the downside. The 5 minute is very, very overbought. And the 15 minute is overbought, and you're closing a red candle. So that next movement would take us back to about 87.6. Argil, I appreciate you for being on the live. We'll be back live tonight, guys, for the London session at 1 a.m. So see me back on the London session, guys, but essentially you are going to continue to drop. A little bit of a fake out here into the New York session to get some volume in, probably even trap shorts. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night or wonderful day. Set your stop losses and profit. Be careful around 87.5 region, all right? And then if we did break hypothetically If we hypothetically broke 90,008, there could be a potential for an uptrend. But with the 18-hour and daily dropping, we're definitely coming down. All right. Hope everyone has a great day, guys. We'll see you in beastlimitless.com, and we'll talk to you guys in a bit. Man.